Hey guys, so today I'm excited to talk to you about this Aegis safe. So, as you guys know, I'm very pro 2A, and I've been collecting firearms for quite a while now. As a dad with young kids, one thing that I always prioritize is safety of those firearms. Now, I like finding new products that have an option to, one, be safe, but two, be readily accessible. And this kind of solves both those things for me. This thing right here is a safe that you do not need to physically touch to get into. Now, to me, that is pretty cool. Full disclosure, this was sent to me for review, but you guys know me, I'm gonna be completely honest, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think of it, what I like about it, and at the very end, we will get on some things that I think could use a little bit of improvement. So, just to give you guys a heads up, here's gonna be what we talk about in this video. It's gonna be what comes with this and how it works, why this is better than other options out there, what it can fit in it, because obviously that is something pretty important if you're going to buy something like this, and where I think this works best for you and myself as well. And then lastly, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about a few things I think could be improved on the overall product itself. You might hear that beeping a lot as I wave my hand over that sensor. It's going to make some sounds, so I apologize for that in advance if I wave my hand over that a lot and you hear that in the background. So let's talk about what exactly is this safe. So this is a rather lightweight, surprisingly lightweight safe that uses the palm of your hand to gain access. You hold it above, it scans your palm, and then it opens. You can do both palms. You can set, I don't know how many total, but so far I just have mine, and you can see it's super quick. You gotta hold your hand 4 to 8 inches above, and it shoots it up rather nice. What's cool about this is you also have a keypad, so you can type in a password if for whatever reason you don't want to use that. And it also does come with keys, which I think is pretty cool because, you know, say you're traveling with this and you want to just lock that completely, you have the option to disable the scanning mechanism, lock it, and then go from there. What is also cool is this is battery operated. The battery runs for about 6 months in standby mode. I don't know how much it would be if you're using it consistently, but there's a meter right on the front here. Also tells you the humidity, the temperature, and your battery life. So pretty cool that you have a digital meter on top, lets you know exactly when you need to charge it. So yeah, I will say, when I was first told I was getting this product, I was unsure of my thoughts on it. Personally, when I go to get a product, I mean, historically, I've always had to buy my own products, so I do a lot of my own research before I commit to something. I want to kind of feel out what other people are saying about it, and then I kind of, you know, make the decision whether or not would I really use something, and then I decide to go with it. So being offered a product to review for you guys kind of left me, you know, in the dark. I didn't really know about it. I didn't know it exists. I'm kind of surprised how cool this technology is because I think that's pretty sweet. I didn't even know that was a thing. But yeah, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how much I was going to like or dislike this product. And I didn't want to taint my own information by researching before I got it. I wanted to get it, explore it myself, and then give you guys my honest and real feedback on it. So I think the technology is really cool. I'm not sure when you're going to need that, but I imagine there's scenarios where, you know, 1, you don't want to type a password in, 2, find some keys, or 3, like if you have those kind that have the fingerprints. I know there's a lot of downsides to those. I personally don't own any yet, but I've heard some negatives about those type of safes, especially like if your hands are like really wet, or say you're in a sauna or something where your fingerprints might change and won't exactly work on those. So the fact that you don't have to touch this to gain access, I think that's definitely a cool concept in theory. So let's talk about what comes with this now that you know how it works. Like I mentioned, you do get some keys with it. You get some screws and a tool. There are holes in the bottom of this, so if you were to place it somewhere where you want to really like, that's gonna be the forever home for it, you can open this up and screw this directly into whatever that is. Me personally, I don't know if I necessarily am gonna lock this thing down. I kind of like the thought of having it mobile, especially the thought of using it for travel. So I'm not gonna go that route. Also, they give you this pretty sturdy steel cable. It threads on, so you can open it, run this through, lock it from the inside, and then, tie it to like a table or a chair or something heavy where you're not gonna have this thing just someone grab it and walk off on you. I think it's cool that they give you 2 extra steps of security to make sure this is not just something someone's gonna yank. But I don't know if I necessarily am gonna use it for how I plan on setting this up. So let's talk about why this is a better option. Like we were just talking, if your hands were wet, a fingerprint one wouldn't be ideal. And if it's dark, it's definitely something you don't have to be fumbling around trying to figure out a code. Now, I did test this and I was surprised. It actually works in the dark, which I thought was pretty cool. You just put your hand above it, it scans it, it lights it up, this little window here, and then you can gain access to it, which is really awesome. So should you want this at your bedside, I think that's a really cool feature because you can quickly throw your hand over it, grab your firearm. Yes, this is clear and safe. And you are ready to inspect whatever woke you up. I purposely did put my PDP in here. That is the largest combination of firearm / optic that I could run, and it does fit. I mean, it just fits. It maybe has like a millimeter or 2, but I can still easily grab it in and out. I could still also fit 2 extra mags, which again, should you be traveling, nice to have that option to bring extra ammo with you. So I thought that was pretty cool that it actually fit that. And I have an X300 on there. So if you had a similar size gun that was 5 full inches, it still would fit. It would even fit more if you didn't have the extra mag in there. If you had a really, really obnoxious long gun. I don't even know what would really be longer than that, but if you guys know or have something larger than that, larger than a full 5 inches with an X300, tell me in the comments below, because I'm kind of curious what you might use as home protection. Obviously, aside something like a Rattler, I'm talking like pistol specific. But let me know what you think would be too big for this box, because I think most of us are not even going to have something that large. Generally, it's something smaller. Now, if you don't want something that large, the second thing I think this would be really great for is leaving it by your entryway. Like for me personally, the thought of coming home, taking the holster off, throwing it in there with my wallet and keys, and locking it, I like that idea a lot. And I think in certain applications, it makes a lot of sense depending, who you live with, if you have roommates, if you have guests over. You always want to keep your firearm safe anyway. Your wallet and keys are probably the next 2 most important things besides your cell phone you want to keep safe. So having that right at an entry point where you can come home after a long day, throw your stuff in there, know no one's going to get to it, I think that is pretty clutch. And lastly, the other way I think it works a lot is traveling. As someone who often goes to different states and does different things with the family, I always like to stay protected. Obviously, I follow the rules and laws of that state, so I encourage you to do the same if you are going to different states and they may have different laws than I go to. So obviously, check your laws out before traveling with a firearm. But for me, something this small, and I have everything I would need in it, that's pretty clutch. And then wherever I stay, I have this, right by the bed or somewhere hidden, and then I have access to it if I need it. I think that's also a great use of this. So let's talk about how it could be improved, because obviously, although this was sent to me, there's no free lunch here. I'm going to give you my honest and raw feedback. So the first thing I thought, and I will say, my wife had conflicting views. The look of it overall, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I kind of feel like it looks like a cash box, especially with that, key chamber on the front. And I think it gets the attention in the wrong way, as in if it was somewhere where someone who you don't necessarily trust or might see that and think it's full of money. I think the overall appearance kind of gives a wrong impression. Now, my wife loves the aesthetic of that, and compared to other similar style things I have purchased in the past, I'm not going to name any names, she hates the look of those and says this looks way sleeker, way cleaner, and fits the aesthetic better. So that in itself, that's just my perspective. I would like it to look a little bit more discreet. I think if you had it look like like a plain jewelry box or something that doesn't really catch your eye, or maybe if they had like a small cover that just went right over top of this, covered that keyhole, covered the buttons and just left over that screen, I think that would be pretty cool. Something to just make it kind of not stand out. But again, that's just my opinion on it. It doesn't take away from how this thing works. I think it works great. I think the weight is good. I think the size of it is pretty good. There's one other thing that I would suggest on improving. And again, this is just nitpicking it at this point. So right here on top, you have your charging port. That is how you charge the safe. Again, I said it lasts in standby for about 6 months is what they say. Me, I'm the type of person, I would like to leave this thing plugged in all the time. Now, if I were to have this at my bedside, I could not do that because I like to sleep in total darkness. And anytime, sorry, I'm messing with that cover there. Anytime that's charged, this light is on, telling you the humidity, battery, and temperature. Now, there might be a way to disable it, and I may have missed that in the instructions. If I did and someone knows that, correct me in the comments below because I apologize. But to me, I like sleeping in total darkness. I could not have that light on, so obviously I have the option. I can just leave it unplugged. But I'm just saying my personal preference, I would like to leave it plugged in. So again, it's not anything wrong with the actual device. It's just, me really nitpicking how I would use it. And I'm sure a lot of you that would not bother, and you can find a spot to put it that it doesn't even affect you in that way. So I just wanted to be honest with you guys and give you as much of my real feedback as I could, because this is one of the second items we've reviewed on the channel. And I don't want that to sway my opinion in any way. I always want to give you guys the most honest feedback, especially if you're going to spend your own hard-earned money on this. So my final thoughts are, I think this is a pretty cool concept. I like the fact that you can get into it super quick. I like that it works in the dark. I like that you don't have to touch it to use it. All those things are awesome because you hear something go bump in the night and you got to get your firearm. You don't want anything slowing you down. And that's what this thing does. You instantly got it, you got your firearm, you're ready to go. And I think that is super cool. Also, as a dad, a husband, someone who has small kids in the house, we gotta keep these locked up, we gotta keep these safe, we gotta keep these away from kids. Because as cool as it is to own guns, it's even cooler to own them and be responsible. Because the last thing we want to do is let someone who should not have access to these have access to them. So anything that helps make our homes safer and protect our children and still support 2A, I'm a fan of that. Obviously, if there was something glaringly wrong with this, I would tell you guys. But, it works exactly how it's designed. I think it's a really cool feature. I'm surprised the tech, that's awesome. Just checking, it scans my palm. That's crazy. I didn't know that existed. So if you guys want a further, more detailed review or have any sort of questions, ask me in the comments below. I will get right back to you. But again, here's the Aegis safe. I like it. If you guys are in the market for something like this, I think you should check it out. You won't be disappointed. And I'll continue to test this out. And if anything happens or anything, changes my opinion, you guys know I'm going to make a video and let you know. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe down below. And let me know your thoughts on this. What would you carry in here? Peace.